Hey, West Ham Eyes channel, we're back. First proper show. Hope everyone is doing good. Got Frankie with me, got Ian with me. Hope everyone is good. Chat's all building up, but yeah, it's been 3-4 months. Feels like 4 years, but anyway, I've done my time inside. I'm out. Back on the channel. I missed the old Dear Club and the Dear channel and all the viewers, and obviously Frankie and Ian, all those people with me, really.
Mate, I'm trying to make my camera zoom out. It's so close up. I look like I'm being a right weirdo, but this is how you're supposed to zoom it in and out, and it's not working. I don't know what's going on.
That's all right. I thought it was like in the class, when someone wants to ask a question. Sir, I want to go to the toilet.
Just won't zoom out. I don't know what's going on. I'm like right up in the camera here.
I'll mess about with it as well, but you look all right. We could just about see you. I think you're fine. Let me mess about with it a bit more. Yeah, we should be fine, I think. Let me just fiddle with it for a bit. It's been a while, innit? But anyway, this show is obviously going to... Oh, we got someone else on. Ryan. Ryan's on. Ryan, how you doing, mate? You all right?
You right, you?
What's happened to your hair?
Oh, I cut it all off.
Yeah. Don't worry about Frankie's hand movements. He's trying to zoom his camera in and out.
Really? Hey, there we go.
Hey!
Look at that. That's it.
That is technology, mate. Oh my God. That is superb. God, brilliant. But anyway, thanks for everyone to joining. What I was mentioning is easygoing, relaxed show, first proper comeback show. And yeah, we're going to talk about a few easygoing topics. Not really going to go into... I hate doing predictions. I'm not really going to go into that. We don't know what's going to go on and happen and things like that. It's just one or two major topics over the 3-4 months when, the channel wasn't around. And just I'm very interested to hear about people's views, really, more than anything, really. And then I'll kind of come in at the end, really. So the first thing I wanted to go into... We're going to the chat a bit later on. I just have to get this one out the way. And I just want to know... quickly from you three your feelings and what you were doing on the night, really, and that kind of thing. So starting off with you, Frankie, I got a feeling I know where you were, mate, but I know it seems a long time away, but yeah, if you could briefly tell everyone what it felt and where you were on that particular night we won the cup, mate.
Yeah, of course, mate. Well, I kind of feel like I didn't have the moment everyone else did, mate, because I did the fan parks in Hackney Wick, which got bigger and bigger as the weeks went on and as we got closer and closer to the final. And I probably bit off a little bit more than I could chew, mate, to be honest, trying to keep everybody happy and giving everybody an option and creating spaces that gave everyone the experience that they wanted. We ended up with around 3,000 people across 2 venues, which was a lot of people to manage and look after, and obviously make sure they had a really good time. So that was a lot to juggle. And yeah, I was running around and just trying to keep everything running smoothly, really. So the semi-final, that all worked brilliant because I still got to enjoy the game for the whole match. I stood upstairs and watched it, and I didn't feel like I missed out on anything. In fact, I felt like I had a really good evening, even though I hadn't gone out to the match. I still felt like I got the experience I wanted to. But the final was different story, mate. Running back and forth to 2 different venues, even though they were 10 minutes apart. But the main thing was, mate, I think hopefully I gave everybody a really good night and made, it a special night for a lot of people. We had a lot of really, really good feedback. So that was the main thing, mate. And obviously it was an amazing night, and everyone was already drunk and smashed to bits, and then I started trying to catch up once all the venue had closed at about gone midnight. So I'm trying to down as much drink as possible to start celebrating. Everyone was already pretty much comatose and passing out, mate, because they'd been on it all day. So yeah, I kind of felt like I didn't get that moment, but I did go to the celebration dinner at the Intercontinental Hotel the other evening.
Right.
I enjoyed that. It was quite an interesting dynamic. There's a few things I could bring up on here tonight, mate, with a little bit of insights from that evening and how things were, which are quite interesting. But yeah, all in all, mate, that was what I did for the final. I just hope we can win something else another time. If we did it again, Would I put on an event? It would be tough. If I did, I'd probably have to get a management team to manage it, because I couldn't miss out on something like that again. So, but I hope all you boys had a wonderful time.
Yeah. I did some few silly things like, I'm so in. There's a couple of things I've learned. One thing is next time if we get to the final, I'm just going to go. I overthink too many things and I didn't end up going there. And even people without a ticket had a good time out there. So I wish I could do that. Then I bought that orange kit, didn't I, before the final, thinking it's going to be hard to get a hold of again. And the family took the mix saying it looks awful on me. But anyway, I had a great night and watched it at home in the bar with the neighbours and a few West Ham fans on our road. So all in all, a great day. But one question before I move on to our next guest, Frankie. For all the effort I hope you made a reasonable profit, mate, after all that sweat and blood.
Well, I have to say, mate, I invested quite a lot of it back in. So I flew Frankie McAvenny down. So he was there to obviously sort of do meet and greets and so on. We had Martin Allen was there as well, doing his usual bit.
Oh, I love him.
Comedian. Yeah. He's a great character. And yeah, we just invested a lot of what we was making back into the shows just to try and make it as best an experience as possible for everyone. So we paid for free DJs. So there was a lot of DJs there who was doing, the music, and we needed to make sure a lot of the free DJs were West Ham fans. So they weren't going to do it cheap because they were missing their moment a little bit as well by doing the music for everybody. So yeah, a lot of it went back in. And to be honest, mate, it was never about the profit. If you turn around to me now and said, do you want 100 grand or do you want West Ham to win another trophy? I'll take the trophy, mate. So the money doesn't really come into it, to be honest. Good
to hear. Let's move on to Ian, my man. Ian, one of my sort of old partners on various channels and ventures I've done. So Ian, you take it away, mate. Well, where were you on that particular night? And
I was sitting exactly where I'm sitting now. Trying not to get too excited because the baby was a month old, just over a month old. So settling her to sleep, trying to not get too excited with the goals going in. Just on the edge of my seat all night. It was one of those sort of nervous energies for a long time, wasn't it? But we won. Lots of celebrations afterwards on my own. Getting daggers from the wife saying, "Why don't you shut up for a minute so the baby can go back to sleep?" But yeah, that was all good fun. But I was here watching it on the computer. So.
And I mean, afterwards, I mean, I had Frankie knows, I just started booing my eyes out, mate. I got really emotional. I just let it go, and I thought, what's going on here? So, any stories like that?
No, I was just grinning like a Cheshire cat for the next couple of days. It's still happening now. When you think about it, you can't help but smile, can you? And I've seen that they're doing tickets to go and have your picture taken with a trophy still. So I might grab myself one of them.
I think I'm looking to. I think you have to go on the website, book a slot. I could be wrong. Just double check. I think I'll have a look at that.
All through the West Ham United website, you still book them. So,
well, let's move on to the youngest member, Ryan. I mean, Ryan, I started supporting West Ham in '83. That's how long I had to wait, mate. So, not such a long wait for you, mate. So,
no,
What were you up to?
I went and watched it with my granddad. So, my great granddad was like a huge West Ham fan. And when I was little, he passed away. But he had a bit of whiskey left in his bottle, and my granddad saved it until West Ham won a trophy that both of us would do a shot of it. So as soon as West Ham finished the game, my nan came in with a shot of whiskey for both of us, and we had to drink it. My great granddad's last little bit of whiskey.
Oh, that's wow. Yeah. I open up my Johnny Walker Blue. That's been on the shelf for 5, 6, 7, 8 years. So we had a bit of that. I don't normally drink whiskey neat, but it went down all right, mate. Like you said, It was that kind of occasion, wasn't it? Before I carry on, do the chat, and then on the next question, on the ticker below, a good friend of mine, he goes by the name of sort of West Ham Steve Badges. He's an avid badges collector, and on Facebook, he's got the West Ham Nostalgia page with over 5,000 subs. And please go to Facebook, subscribe, follow him. He's a fan from the old John Lyall times, and still one of the few fans that lives a couple of roads away from Green Street. And he helped me on that Green Street video I did with Steve, and Steve, really. Yeah. So, that's just kind of promoting him a little bit. Let's have a look what's happening in the chat. And Mr. Mace, I can see him straight away, Frankie, mate. You know, that's loyalty.
Good to see Mr. Mace again.
Yeah, so evening, Si. I hope you're well, mate. There's Naughty Steve with the muckers. Hammer time back in the big time. So again, these are all our regulars, and they've missed us. I didn't think anyone would miss us, but they do, and I'm kind of really happy about that. And back to be back, mate. Rich, A-Team, yep. Steve's going to be not non-stop, mate, isn't he? Lee, how you doing, mate? You all right? Good lad. There you go. Steve's like, that's his sixth chat already. Red Fontaine, good lad. Thank you, Mark. Thank you. We'll get you guys back. Kent Hammers, not even Kent Hammers in there. Hope you're doing good, Kent, and keep up your good work on Facebook. And again, sort of what I was mentioning is how hard it is doing these kind of things. Kent, again, I know people get frustrated doing West Ham stuff with either comments coming in or different reactions. I mean, my reason, just want to clarify, was nothing to do with no one saying anything to me. It's just I just got a bit tired and I had to do a lot of things at work, a lot of DIY stuff. So in the West Ham family, whether that's the YouTube channels, got no issue with no one. We all get on, it's fine. But I think everyone's different, and I think, Kent, you're doing a great job on your Facebook page, mate. Carry it on, and I think every day's different, mate, and people come out with different angles, isn't you, mate? That's it. Mr. Mace, there we go. The band's back together. Mr. Mace, one very loyal follower of ours. Hope you're doing good. Hope you have a good summer, mate. Really good to see all the old names back. And there we go. There's the oh, you didn't get a notification, mate. Oh, well, I'll show you how to do it after the show, mate. But that's the Steve badges. So, Steve, I got your thing on the bottom of the ticker, mate. Hope you're happy with that, mate. There you go. Video from the game. Yeah, mate. I know. What a night, mate. What a night. Mr. Mace was in Prague, not in the stadium. Got smashed. Locked myself out of my room. Naked at 4 o'clock, you nutter. Had to get... that is Mr. Mace, Frankie, isn't it? That is him.
It is, mate. I'd expect no less, mate. I'd expect no less.
Yeah. You'll have to write a book on all your memos, mate, a diary and what you get up to, mate. Hi, Pam. Hope you're well. Mr. Hendricks, coming you irons. Evening, Michael. Okay, let's go back to the questions and carry on with that. So the next question I'm going to do, again, I'll start off with Frankie, mate, is let me just close off the chat. Right, here we go, mate. Rice has gone. Don't want to really go into should he have gone this season, next season, blah, blah, blah. 105 million, 100 to 105 million, mate. And you remember, Frankie, we used to talk about around 90, didn't we?
Yeah.
Around November time. So, again, you happy with money coming in, mate, in 3 installments, I think, if I'm right? 33 million per installment, something like that? Yeah.
Why can't we just enjoy football talk as normal football talk anymore? Why does the financial structure matter about anything? When we used to have a beer in the pub, did we all sit there and go, oh, come on, someone show us the document and show us how many breakdowns it is and when we're getting paid and when? I don't care. It's 105 million. That's all we need to know. I wasn't personally attached to him anyway. I went to his house, had a chat with him standing in front of his lovely brand new house that he built. It was very clear he wasn't a West Ham fan. It was very clear he was never invested in West Ham long term. It was very clear that he wasn't really, all about everything that West Ham was about. So I never got personally attached to him, mate. I was never one of these Rice fanboys because I'd spoke to him face to face and I'd heard him talk about West Ham and he didn't talk about us with any love. So it was always a relationship that he was a employee of the football club. He got paid a wage to do a job, which he done brilliantly while he was with us. Got no problem with that. And in the end of the day, he was always going to go, which is why I never really became emotionally attached to him. Never really let my boy become emotionally attached to him. And to be honest, my boy wasn't that bothered anyway. I think when you're that young, you want to see goal scorers. He loves Bowen, he likes Skamaka because they're your goal scorers. He couldn't appreciate what Rice does on the football pitch. So for me, it just sort of came and he went and we knew he would go. And I was never really that bothered, mate, to be honest with you. Good amount of money. I'd like to think that the majority of West Ham fans may have felt a little bit better about it if we was confident that our people involved in transfer would have spent it wisely and done a good job with the money. And then everyone might have been a little bit calmer about the situation. But I think that was the biggest problem for me. Is it's a great amount of money if it's used well, and maybe we don't trust the people who are involved to use it wisely, mate.
Bang on, mate. I was more concerned about why we didn't buy a replacement in the previous 2 windows, like you said, instead of having all the money or whatever now, and then everyone knows about it, blah, 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 that put their prices up. And yeah, I think he's not really connected to the club. It's a profession, and he moves on, and that's the end for me, mate. Ian, what about you, mate?
I don't begrudge him for going. I think 105 is a good amount of money for him. He's no longer the British transfer record, though, is he? So if we'd held out a little bit longer, would we have got more for him? Because I would probably say he's more of a stable figure in the Premier League than Moyes Caicedo is. But you can't grumble. You don't like seeing your best players leave, but we're slowly starting to see some of the new signings coming in using those funds. Hopefully they pan out well. I mean, Ward-Prowse is, you know what you're getting with him, set piece specialist. Who else? We've got Alvarez. I don't know too much about him. Seems like a solid little ball player. And a couple of other rumours coming through. I mean, the one player I don't want us to invest any money into is Jesse Lingard, even if it's on a free transfer. That's being sprung around at the minute. But 105 million. I don't think you can grumble with the amount that's come in for him.
Perfect. Ryan?
No, I don't really mind about Rice. I mean, the thing is, even if you did want him to stay, you've seen how he is now at Arsenal. If you saw the video of him the other day singing that North London Forever song, you've got to have thought, you know what, actually, it wasn't even worth liking him. Like, I just think he's a gimp, really, for singing that as well. Kissing the badge and then sings North London Forever. Absolute drip.
Well, deep down, Ryan, I don't think we're really surprised. There's very few players like Noble and who's going to stick around.
He was saying up the RIA and then sang.
Mate, our pony is that North London Forever song as well. That is the muddiest football song I've ever. It's wet. It's just the most awful, watered down footballs, and it's so forced, isn't it? Yeah. They want it to be Bubbles. They want it to be this anthem, and it's never ever going to be. I give it a couple of years.
It's the biggest library ever. No one cares about Arsenal.
Terrible song. Let's not be being bitter towards them. It is just a terrible. It's not a football song. It's awful. Absolutely terrible.
I mean, there used to be a club that I didn't mind, but since Arteta's gone in there, I've got no time for them. And the fans over the summer, they got nasty, didn't they? We had a lot of ugly banter during the summer, and the way they go to the matches in the ground and they behave, you'd think they won the European sort of Champions League in the summer. They got that hump about them, that kind of chip on their shoulder, and they're not.
But
very
let's be
much
real, they have got a gold badge and they finished second. So what can we say?
Yeah, Pam, you're giving your age away. Paul Allen, very interesting character, Paul Allen, wasn't he? 17 at the 1980 FA Cup final, went to Spurs, and we replaced him with Mark Ward the following season. But Paul Allen was our best player of the season before Player of the Year, and went under. I'm not sure why, maybe something to do with a contract or money or things like that. But we remember people like that. Mr. Mace, doesn't matter how much we get, who we bring in. Yeah, that is the number one thing for me, mate, is the football. Ince. Ooh, controversial, Incy. Snazzy-azzy evening all, mate. We need more than that, mate. Before I go on to the next question, just generally before we go into the transfer section, actually I'll leave it for the transfer section. Next question so far is this one. Let me just close the chat off. There we go. So, Frankie, very hard one, mate. So, as far as I know, Noble is the director of football. Steidten, I don't even know how to pronounce his name, mate. He's a technical director, is he? Ian might correct me, mate. Noble is director of football, isn't he, Ian?
That's my understanding of it, yeah. And
Steidten, technical director.
Yeah.
Okay. So, Frankie, is the roles of Moyes and the new technical director and Sullivan all clear when we're signing players, mate? Or...
These are bad questions to ask me, mate. You've done this on purpose to get Frankie angry responses on the first video back. I couldn't care less what their roles are, what they're called, or what their titles are, or what they're meant to be doing. I only care about going over to West Ham and watching a good football game with all good people. Again, would I have sat in the pub in the past and spoken about who's sweeping up the dressing rooms and who's pouring the drinks in the blooming whatever and who's doing? I couldn't care less. I really couldn't. I couldn't give a damn. I don't know, mate. I hear all this talk of Steidten being a really amazing, well-known, really respected by who? Tell me who said. He's shown me the captions of someone saying Tim Steidten's this, he's that. This is why he's respected. I don't see any of this. I just see a lot of made-up nonsense about whatever that people just try and come up with these sort of opinions on things because it makes interesting comments viewing or whatever. I don't know, mate. All I know is, at the end of the transfer window when it comes, and I've been really calm about the whole situation. I've not been getting too fussed about who is the person who signs off on the transfer. Is it Moyes? Is it still Sullivan? I used to get really bought into that. And when there used to be videos about it and people were talking about who signs off this and who signs off that, I used to let it affect me, to be perfectly honest. And it used to wind me up in transfer windows. I used to get really frustrated and agitated. And this year I just said, look, do you know what? I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to wait until transfers get over the line. Let's judge it at the end of the window and see what actually has gone on. And then we can evaluate the situation then. And I hope that regardless of who's titled what, who's involved where, as long as the best outcome at the end is what's best for West Ham and we have the right people around us who want to play for West Ham United Football Club, I'm happy. And that's all I ever ask for, is people who want to play for West Ham and give everything on that pitch, mate. And if that's who we sign and that's who we have at the end of it, then that's all good. I feel like we just try and analyse too much these days because of the YouTube world and whatever, whose roles what and where, and I don't really, I don't know and I don't really care. It's the honest answer.
Yeah, it's just too much information out there, like you said, and too many things coming out and overthinking things, isn't it, rather than what's on the pitch, mate?
Exactly that.
Yeah.
And it can spoil your enjoyment of looking forward to a new season, or it can spoil you because you start, like you say, you get too emotionally invested, you think too much into it, and it can just start winding you up. And I'm not going to let that happen anymore. I'm so excited to go to Chelsea at home, mate, and be back over there. It's the worst experience of a football match in the world at that Poxy Stadium. And I just can't wait to be back in there, mate. I'm literally smiling from ear to ear just at the thought of getting on that train on Sunday morning and getting over West Ham again, mate. It's what it's all about.
It is definitely. Ian, your thoughts on, stories when we don't go for a player or it goes through and it's all things like whose player is that? Is Moyes after him, Sullivan after him, or the new guy, Steidten. Yeah, it's weird, isn't it?
So, I mean, my understanding of the roles is Steidman, I think that's how you pronounce it, is sort of the overarching boss now of our recruitment process. From what I have done research-wise, he uses, the film Moneyball with the Oakland A's, that sort of statistics-based scouting is what he uses to identify these young players at a lower level. Noble's obviously there to get him in as a director of football and do the personnel side of things, and Sullivan's there to obviously sign the deals, to give over the money. And I mean, I don't particularly like Sullivan, but he has been putting his money where his mouth is more recently, isn't he? So I don't think we can grumble too much at that. The thing I keep seeing and keep hearing, and you can't take it as sort of gospel because you're not in the room, is that Noble is picking out targets, Steidman's picking out targets, Sullivan's picking out targets, and Moyes is saying no to all of them. I don't want that player. Now, I don't know whether that's true or not, but considering we've had a couple of windows where we've not signed anybody, you sort of tend to start believing some of these noises coming out, and with the players, number of players saying they're not happy with things, it does make it a little bit more difficult, I think, to sign players. Happy with some of the ones we've brought in and that we're linked to, but again, we brought in Skamaka last year. He's gone. Paqueta, we brought in last year, potentially gone. Do you know what I mean? There's a lot of turnover of these players that we're spending big money on and then selling for a loss most of the time. And I think we're trying to be a little bit more forward thinking with the recruitment process for once. And it's the fact that Moyes is still in charge that takes the life out and the enjoyment out of everything that is West Ham. And for me, until he's gone, I'm going to still moan about him. And when he won a trophy, but doesn't mean he shouldn't have been sacked straight afterwards. But yeah, I think as a recruitment process going forward, some of the people we're bringing in, from what I've read and seen and looked at players that they've identified previously, we're going to be all right going forward. It's just sort of the immediate future that's a concern.
Yeah, I'm confused, Ian. I'm confused about everyone's roles. I mean, Sullivan surely has the final say more than often than not. The other thing that's not healthy is that Moyes has got less than a year left in his contract. If you're signing for West Ham, I don't know who you're signing for. A lot of the time, it's the manager's pool. We're seeing that at Pochettino, aren't we? Like, everyone wants to sign for Chelsea, even had a Klopp. I'm shocked by that. Or it could be the money or London. I don't know what it is, but
or the 9-year contract. 250 grand a week for 9 years. Sure, mate. Yeah, I'll have
that. Oh, mate. Let's get an American owner in then. Anyway, but the thing is, I think we needed, well, ideally a new manager in, someone like the Brighton manager with a 3-4 year contract, and the way we're playing better football. I think that makes more sense to me. So that's why it's going to be up and down, Ian, what happens in the window. He's not going to get all the players he wants, Moyes. He's going to be a mixture, mate. And we'll see, won't we, who he plays out the new signings, who he doesn't, and then that might let you know what's going on. What about you, Ryan? Like, are you confused like me about all these people's roles, mate?
Yeah, I mean, Steidten coming in, I mean, you've had that thing with Alvarez, what he said, where he's like, obviously, he didn't know that much, but Steidten's like convinced him, he's sold West Ham to him, and then he wanted to join. So, I mean, I think Steidten is good for us, but it's how we use him with Moyes. That's the problem.
I forgot about Rob Newman.
Yeah, I know, he's still there as well. Fucking idiot.
I'm more confused.
He just sits there and does nothing. But no, with Moyes, I just think sometimes it's better the devil you know than if we got someone in random, then you never know.
Bring on the random.
See, the thing is with Moyes, with me, I do dislike his football, but he's probably the best manager that I've seen at West Ham. That's 3 years.
I'm very sorry for you, Ryan. I feel very sorry for you.
I mean, the football's awful, but when we was good, we did win games. So I don't know what's changed last year for him to be absolutely shocking.
I can tell you what changed, and you know what? It all become very, very clear. Yeah. We had Mr. Irvine massively involved, who disappeared, and it all went downhill. And it all come out after the win of the Conference League, that Irvine was actually involved in all of the setup for the Conference League matches last year. And he's going to have a role going into this year now as well because of his success in the Conference League last year. So there you go, mate. There's a man there who knows his stuff and steered us to success. Yeah. And when you leave Moyes on his own to his own devices, mate, unfortunately, it's a bit of a travesty. So I think that really did hit home when it did come out that Irvine was influential to the Conference League campaign, mate.
Yeah.
No, I know the two Bob teams as well that were in it, but we looked better. Simple as that. So I think Irvine is a really important piece of that fabric, mate.
Yeah, Nevin going to a so-called lesser club, lesser role or similar role, and then obviously Stuart Pearce went before that, and then I know we didn't like Warburton, but his comments were interesting, saying only one man has the final say, which is the case, but he doesn't respect any other comments from anyone else, any views, any different things he could try. So yeah, he's having to change coaches every year. That's not healthy. And the one or two that are being earmarked to come in, I've never heard of them. They're quite young, not really, no track record really great to speak of. So that's not good on that front, really. The next thing is obviously linking into that. Frankie Moyes, do you think, obviously...
Mate, I went to that award ceremony, mate.
Yeah.
Moyes sat on his own, completely isolated from everybody else, with his own bodyguard. He had a bloke who was clearly he was actually a Moyes fan. The guy had something for Moyes to sign and wanted a selfie. He was leaning over where people were allowed to walk up to. He was going, Moyes, please, can you sign my ball and can I have a photograph? Moyes was going, no, go away.
Oh.
Not interested in whatsoever. He literally sat divided from the rest of the squad, from everybody else. You had Nolan, who was walking around, engaging with people, talking to people, getting involved. Moyes sat in his chair the whole time, didn't move, had a little notepad writing stuff down, and with his own bodyguard, and had no interest in talking to anyone, being involved in anything, signing anything, having a photograph, nothing at all. He was literally the most isolated man in the room. It was really weird. I actually and genuinely felt sorry for him. It looked like a man who just had no friends. It looked like a man who wasn't liked by anybody. It was really, really odd to see. It was a really strange dynamic. I didn't understand it. And when someone was genuinely showing that you was a fan of his and appreciated what he'd done for the football club and really wanted to, just basically engage with him, and the fact he totally disregarded it and just waved his hand off as if to say, leave me alone, I just thought just wasn't right. And it was quite funny at the beginning of the show, because they started to announce David Moyes, the manager who took us to European success, and they were so worried that nobody would clap and cheer that they then added in the squad as well. So it was a whole feature of David Moyes. You expected them to turn around and go and have a big round of applause for David Moyes, but they was worried no one would clap. So they went and have a big round of applause for David Moyes and the squad for everybody else, and everyone sort of clapped. It was so funny and obvious what they'd done that they had to add that little bit in just in case everyone was just like, oh, no, we're not clapping him, sort of thing. So I don't know, mate. It's a weird dynamic. I felt sorry for him. He looked like a man who had no future. It looked like a man who was alone, on his own, and very isolated from everything else. And that can't be a good thing, mate. That can't be a good, regardless of what you think of him, regardless of your opinions of him as a manager and what he does for us, to have someone that distant and that sort of, pushed to the outside of everything is not good for the football club, mate.
And when do you think he'll go? Is it,
I always had it, regardless of whatever. I always said he'd be gone by Christmas. I always said I feel that would be the case. I don't think at the moment he's being helped by other things around the club. But I think he's damned if you do and damned if you don't. I think everyone's saying, he's not being backed by the board. He isn't being given the right people in the transfer window. But if they do give him the right people in the transfer window, I mean, that could go against him as well. I think really I don't see any way that this all goes well for him in the future. I think by Christmas we will see a change.
Yeah, I agree with Kent Hammers. He should have gone after the final win, because the longer this carries on, we struggle in the league. It's not nice him. Going away with a lot of negative feelings, really. And what my worry is that Paqueta likely to go, so get a lot of money in for him. And then you give a lot of that to Moyes, and then he's gone after 5 games, and you got nothing left for the new manager. I mean, I think they've got to hold some money back. But Frankie, you always know a few things inside. You might not know, but imagine if we didn't sell Rice, we didn't sell Paqueta. Do you know how much money we would have had, you think, to spend out of our own pocket, you think? 40 million?
I always said we didn't have much. We know we'd spent our money. Look, mate, we are not. And this is where everyone... Again, I don't think channels have helped this. I think channels push this thing that we're going to kick on because we're European champions and we can go and spend loads of money this window and kick on. We was never going to do that. We were like, was it the 5th highest spenders in Europe the season before. We're West Ham. We can't afford to do that back to back to back. It's not going to happen. We made a big investment. We spent our money. We showed our hand and played our cards. We reaped the rewards of that with a trophy. Fantastic. But I always felt that even with the Rice sale and whatever, I still felt we was only ever going to spend 60 odd million maximum, even with the Rice money this year. And yeah, I think without the Rice money, I don't think there'd have been anything there at all. I think it would have been a case of try and work with what you got, Moyes. I think that's how it would have been. So, especially with when you look at, I think Sullivan has put his hand in his pocket. There's no question. And I will say that 100%. He has put his hand in his pocket. But when you look at the net spend, the biggest myth is that our net spend is so high because Sullivan is spending money. The reason our net spend is so high is because everyone we buy doesn't sell for any profit. We always make a loss. If we had sales going out the door and we was making money on players, the net spend wouldn't look as high as it did because we'd have money balancing that out. So that's our biggest problem, is that every single player we seem to buy, we do our absolute brains on, which we, as a club like West Ham, you just cannot afford to do that. Hopefully now with our quadruple structure of signing players, there's so many levels that someone's got to get that right in that chain of things somewhere. But if Paqueta does go, and I know there's a lot of talk around that, then that's a massive profit made on him. The biggest profit we'd have ever made on a player, I think, as a football club. So it's a tricky one, mate, isn't it? It's who knows? But I knew we wouldn't be going and throwing money around this window. That was never going to be the case.
Okay, Ian. Again, sort of, on kind of. I mean, this question is a good one. If all what we're saying is true about Moyes being isolated, not very much liked by a lot of things, and why is he still here? Sullivan, very hesitant.
Manager just won a European trophy, mate.
Yeah.
Double R.
Now, here's the thing: is the fact that there's still a question mark over it. I think says it all as to how the club's being run from a sort of a first team point of view. For his reputation, because I don't think we should have got rid of him the first time. I think that was a mistake, but things have run their course. He's taken us as far as he can take us. There were question marks over he's got one more game to save his job last year. That come out several times. The fact that we won a trophy for the first time in years, he should have walked away and tipped his hat and said, "Thank you very much. I've taken you as far as I can take you, and I wish you all the best." Because for him, then he would have been remembered as that David Moyes. He was the guy who won us a European trophy. He's now going to be remembered as the guy who potentially got us relegated and put us back in a relegation fight after winning us a European trophy. I do disagree with Frankie. I think you can sack a manager after they've won a European trophy. Where did we finish last year? We shouldn't have. Yeah. We won the European trophy. We should have been top half of the table easily, especially with the amount of teams that were absolute dog shit last year. We should have been better than we were. And I mean, for me, this should have been sorted out. Whether he's either going to give him a new contract and back him to the hilt in the summer, or he should have got rid of him, someone else in. Who you get in is the question. Who's better than him that's available for our price bracket? But it's one of those that there shouldn't still be a question mark over it. I do think I think we're going to get a drumming. Watching the opening weekend, we're going to get a drumming this weekend by Chelsea, and then what do we do? Because you look at our run of fixtures and you go, I don't fancy Moyes to win as many points out of them. We might pull out a lucky point here or there, but I really can't see it, which is quite disappointing, really, because it's a new season. You want to be excited about it, and appreciate obviously what Frankie said about the money not being spent. We have spent a little bit. We're starting to now, and you want to be excited about these things. You've got to be realistic with it. I totally understand that, but it's like James Ward-Prowse. He's you know what he's going to do. He's got 400 appearances for Southampton. I'm sure Moyes is going to sit him on the bench for 6 weeks because he don't like playing a new sign. He's got to adjust to the Premier League. And it's just it baffles me that there's still a question mark over his name.
Well, that was the thing about the Bournemouth game. There was no new signing in the team for one, and that's what you get excited about.
Yeah.
Arsenal had 3 that started their game, right? And I know one's out injured for a while, but that is the point of it, isn't it? You want a new guy up front. We've been crying out for a long time now, and it's just not happening really. But I think you're right. I think we'll see what happens. A lot of it's about planning, and we don't know. Like Brighton said, if you want our manager, you can have it. We know who the next one's going to be. If you want Caicedo and all that, we know the next one. And the next one, what I mean, properly scouted, named that people not familiar with, about 20 million, who's probably double his value, triple it in a year. And we're lazy scouting. Looking at Maguire, very lazy choice. And
I think that's why they have tried to bring in these people to put in that forward thinking. Maguire, I think, wouldn't be bad for us if he played like he did at Leicester, which is kick the ball into Rose Ed and head it. That's all he used to do. When you try and get him to play the ball out properly and run with it, he's absolutely useless because that's not what he's good at. But just the fact that there is no forward planning, you are 100% correct. We have no forward plan. If Moyes was to go, right, do you know what? I'm off now. It's going to take us 4 weeks to figure out what we're going to do because, we didn't expect that.
I can't believe how many new signings on their debut scored or assisted when it takes you so long to adapt to the Premier League, apparently. It was like, I can't believe how many players had massive effects on games, but we're always told, no, that can't happen. They need time. Well, they don't all need time. Some people can play in the Premier League and are suited to the Premier League, but it's a weird old way that we do things.
If you're buying a good footballer, doesn't matter where you play, and they can play football. It's a universal language, isn't it? You can walk onto any beach in the world, any playground in the world, and start kicking a ball around with someone. You don't have to speak the same language.
Yeah,
everyone knows what's going on.
Yeah,
but I think we should have got rid of him after the final. Either way,
I do agree with Ballon Dawson, though. I do agree that he is a shield for Sullivan, and that's possibly why he's still around. That it's an easy blame. If this window goes wrong, or if anything doesn't quite work out, it's very easy for Sullivan to say, well, Moyes' fault, sack Moyes, and all the blame's removed from me, kind of thing, you know?
Yeah, no, you're probably not wrong. You're not wrong. I just find it incredibly frustrating. I can't understand how you can run a business like that with such a big question mark. There's not one person who's got a definitive answer. Yet when you listen to the fan base, who are essentially the reason we are where we are, everyone says something similar. How that's not being voiced in the back room, or maybe it is. I don't understand how we've not moved on and gone, thank you very much for your time. Let's take a chance. It's not necessarily always going to go right. It didn't go right with Pellegrini, did it? But you've got to take a chance to improve. You can't just stick with Moyes forever.
I think I did have a look at the board members many months ago on the programme, Ian, and a lot of them, like you said, it's the two families. They go back decades. They are like family with each other.
Yeah.
And I don't really know how much of a fight Gold would kind of give Sullivan in situations. Would he just back down? And because it's that kind of thing, their sons and daughters are all mingling together at board level now. So I don't know. If that's healthy or not, if one senior member wants to do something, they'll all back him. I don't know. Like you said, that's why not many things are changing. I think one of the daughters, her husband's on the board now, and then obviously the other daughter's on the board now, isn't she? Recently, it surprised me. I didn't think that they would do anything with football going forward, but because they're already running the one or two companies David Gold had. But yeah, she's willing to. Maybe you don't attend that many meetings at board level, and you're going to have, not that much involvement. So there you go. Sullivan will tell her what to vote, yes or no. It's that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Steve, that question, mate. I think why sometimes we're missing players that want to come to us. I think it's just the way of the type of football Moyes plays, and could be the facilities. I don't know. But on the flip side of that is that we are in a Premiership, which is the richest league in the world by far. And that's how we get some of the players to come to us. We're in London as well, which is a big plus point for foreign families. It's because of that, really. But whether David Moyes would get me in a room and really make me go to a club, I don't know. I've heard he's not one of those to put his hands on anyone's shoulders. If someone's struggling, not in a team or injured, I don't think he keeps in touch that much. He just leaves you to it, and that's the kind of thing he is, mate, with that. Let me just go through the chat, and then got 2 more questions. Yeah, that was the thing I was thinking, Victor, that we used to complain about how the opening fixture was so hard, and then I saw that game at the weekend and I was pulling my hair out in the second half. I mean, we just sat back and we literally, the plan looked like was to defend for half an hour on a 1-0 lead and no go over the halfway line, and it wasn't too happy. Same old, and I think Souček's come out with 1 or 2 things that they're fed up with it now, and it's just weird, isn't it, Frankie? I mean, how did you feel second half against Bournemouth? I mean, we're 1-0 up, and I don't know what that tactic was, where you're just going to play so deep, mate. You're asking for trouble, weren't you?
You are, mate. Away from home, just to sit back on a 1-0 lead is a really, really dangerous thing to do. Are we totally convinced that we can always do that? I don't think we can. I'm not always confident. There are teams who can get away with it, mate. There are teams who can stay really solid, and no matter how much the other team throws at them, you feel like they're gonna hold it up. But I don't ever feel that confidence with us. You always feel there's a mistake in us somewhere. You always feel like it can go wrong at any moment, mate. So, with the way we are, you just want to see us kick on and kill games off. And I think the game was there for the taking. It's just, it's just a shame we have that lack of winning mentality, I suppose, mate. But again, I think even once they scored, it was just, we're so happy with the draw, respect the point, away from home. That's great. That's fine. I don't know, mate. I like to see a little bit more intent than that. And I think that's what a lot of people's bugbears is half the time, mate, is we just don't seem to want to win football matches most of the time, and it's frustrating to watch.
I think what hits me more is when you watch what Newcastle are doing now, and even though Villa got tonked, Villa were going for it. They made a substitution at half time. They were attacking them. That new guy Diaby, he scored. Newcastle obviously, and the one that, I mean, we're going to go into the next question, but Frankie and Ian, I ain't going to get over not signing Harvey Barnes. I think I really wanted him. I thought he would have offered a lot of pace, creativity, and can play on the left wing and in the 4-2-3-1. And I liked him at Leicester at a good age. I like what he had a good pre-season. I think he scored on the weekend on the subs bench. And again, I shouldn't believe all the rumours I'm hearing, but again, that's one where we were told that we had that one lined up in early in the window, and we
too early, mate. We don't make no signings early. If it's mentioned early, it ain't gonna happen, is it? We do all everything, mate, and that's fine. I didn't read into any of those early ones because no, we're not doing business then. We're doing it late. We always do it late. I've accepted we do it late. Is it the right way to do it? Probably not. Would we rather get them into a team and have them in there at pre-season and get them bedded in? Yes, of course, but that's not going to happen. We're West Ham. We do our business late. Last year we did it late. We always do it late. So I'm just totally switched off to it now until the sort of final couple of weeks, and then we see what we get. We're starting to be linked with some good names, and that's exciting. And if we get some of these exciting players over the line, that'll be great. I'm still just trying to remain positive, mate. I know we've got Moyes there. I know he'll do what he does with them. I know, but I refuse to let this ruin me looking forward to a new season. I love football, mate, and I love going to football. And I just refuse to let this whole late transfer window, the way we do business, the cheap skating, the silly offers, the low balling, I won't let it bother me anymore. I can't wait to get over there Sunday, mate, as I said before. So.
Yeah, I think what makes it harder is the season has started. I think usually the window closes and we just get on with it. That would make it easier for me. But as you said, we're going to have 2-3 games played, I think, by the time the window shuts. And the good thing, again, Frankie, like you said, is we know there's money in the pot this time, isn't it? So things could happen on that last day that we didn't know and that kind of thing. So this time we are sitting in a good position. Ian, anyone in the window that you wanted to sign or still do want to sign, mate?
I mean, I was quite happy with Ward-Prowse when we was linked with him. I thought that's a solid signing. Obviously, a set piece maestro, isn't he? If we can get him on the free kicks and the corners, we should be scoring goals. We've got a few big lumps, haven't we, that can get on the end of them, and it's just that's the one I was happy with. The others, I take them or leave them. I think until you're proving it on the pitch, I don't know too much about Alvarez or Kudus. I really don't know too much about them, so it'd be wrong for me to comment saying whether I'm excited or disappointed that they're who we're being linked with. The bit that got me with the Harvey Barnes, going back to that, was I thought we've got Cornet, we've got Ben Rama. How many left wingers do we need? We're dying out for some other positions. A young up and coming goalkeeper. Oh, a centre forward maybe, but no, we can get linked with all the left wingers in the league, but just. I want to see us sign some players. I want to see us be proactive with it. And although the transfer window is only a few weeks of the year, surely we should know as a team who we want to go for and already sort of be making that contact with the right people, not necessarily tapping up players, but making contact with the clubs beforehand to say, look, we're interested. What's it going to need to make a deal? And by the time the window opens, bang, day one, you've got someone walking through the door because the deal's already done. That's sort of pie in the sky thinking, isn't it? That's an ideal situation. But the fact that we are leaving it so late again, it's hard to get excited. I want to be, but it's hard to.
I'm looking at this comment. Pam, is that Alex Scott you're talking about? Is he ended up at Bournemouth?
No.
I must have missed it then, if that's the player. Is that someone else, is that?
I hope not.
I don't know. He looked all right. Yeah.
Have a look.
The other thing is, Ian, looks like we're just going to throw the loose change leftovers at the fullback positions again, mate. We're not going to really look at that seriously, and it's gone on for so many years now, isn't it? Again, every other good club is putting a lot of money in those positions, wing backs, full backs, that area.
I think with the modern game, there is a key position to the club, but we're still playing football like it's 1991, aren't we? It's Emerson. I love and hate him. I think he can be a really good player, but his end product isn't always there. But he started to sort of come round a little bit. I like Soufal. I like Ben Johnson. That's an unpopular opinion, but you would like to see maybe trying to push in for a Kieran Tierney, someone who's sort of fallen out of favour a little bit. You could get on the cheap and hopefully sort of see where it goes. He's a solid player, but why are we not? Well, we need a scout. We need a scouting team. We've got a scouting team now, so hopefully January will be a bit more positive.
Oh, he has joined Bournemouth. One or two people are saying it. Wow. Okay, I'm a bit surprised by that. But that's it. The other funny thing is nothing to do with we wanted him. That Traore Frankie, there's a Wolves guy. He went to Fulham on the 3, mate. God, that winger that looked like a bodybuilder. I mean, yeah I think Spurs were going to put a lot of money into him a couple of years ago. Mm. Here's one to wind Frankie up again. Maguire, did you want him?
I don't know, mate. I don't know. I mean, he's a solid enough defender in his day, mate. And I don't know. I was on the fence. I have to say no, just because of his age and how much of a calamity he can be. And he wasn't for me. But would I have been? Mate, he's the sort of player that if he would have joined and came in, I'd have been right behind him. Do you know what I mean?
Once they're in,
an opening he worked out and refound his early form and become the Maguire of old. So I think if he had signed, I wouldn't have been totally devastated by it. But would he have been my first pick? Not really.
Yeah, I think it was quite an expensive deal, over 30 million. What about you, Ian? Did you want him? I didn't want him, mate.
No, I think Frankie's hit the nail on the head there. It's not ideal. I don't think he's worse than what we've got. Could he recapture his form of old? I already touched on that. He's good at heading and just kicking it into Rose head. That's what he needs to do. But for the price and his age, is it a wise deal? I don't think so. I think you could get better for cheaper and younger. But if it does miraculously come round and we sign him, we'll all be behind him, won't we? Have to be.
We do need to bring the age down, Ian. We're one of the oldest, mate, in the Premiership, and I'll allow sort of Prowse because that's a unique signing at 28. He's going to be 29 in November, I think, but he's a pro, he's a captain, and he's a model professional, and I'll let that one go. But we do need a lot of 24, 25-year-olds. Trent thinks Moyes still sniffing around McTominay. I'm all right with that as a squad player and a bit more than that. But if he played week in, week out and he'd cost 40 million, I don't know. 30 I'd take him. Maybe paying 40 for him. I don't know. What do you think about him then? McTominay.
I liked him when he came through at Manchester United. I think he wanted to win the ball. He liked a big challenge. He's a big lump in the middle of the pitch. You'd like, well, say on paper he is a out and out David Moyes player, isn't he? But I think we're going to get bent over for him. I don't think he's worth what they're wanting for him. I think when you look at what they're allegedly touting players for, would we not be better going off to get Donny van der Beek? He's £15 million less. He's younger, and he's a little bit more on the ball when he's got a bit of confidence. It's just I like the potential of it, but do I like the deal that we're going to do for it? Don't know.
Yeah, I think Donny Breek, wherever he is, he's going on loan. I think maybe back to Ajax. I think, not too sure. I think that's where he's going to end up. But for me, like even when I summarised a couple of days ago, we've got to play better football, and for that, unfortunately, we're going to need a new, different type of manager who'll work closely with the new technical director. And from then on, you've just got to keep selecting that style of football, promote it through the academies, and not keep doing Bilic, and then you change it to Moyes, then you change it to Pellegrini, then before that you had the style of Sam. It just chalk and cheese, isn't it? So when you're about to get relegated and you bring in these type of sort of short-term managers, but then they stick around longer. And then I'm just worried that we got a reasonable amount of money in the kitty, and I don't want to blow all of it in this window. I can't believe I'm saying that, but I think we should hold a bit back for the new manager in December, January. I don't know, but we'll see what happens really. But Frankie, I think you're going to go. You're going to the next game, aren't you, mate? Chelsea, isn't it?
Mate, damn right.
Yeah, my son will be there. I might be. We'll see what happens. Is it 3 o'clock kickoff? Is it?
Got changed to 4:30 on a Sunday, didn't it?
Oh, what can you do? What can you do with that? What do you think will happen, mate? What do you think? I mean,
one of my biggest clients, the owner, is a Chelsea fan, and he was really not convinced of Chelsea this year. Thought they'd get an absolute drubbing by Liverpool, and not convinced by Poch. I watched their game against Liverpool, mate, and there's a lot of good in Chelsea at the moment, and it's made me a lot less confident than I maybe was before I watched that game. They're no mugs, mate, and Poch will have them well drilled, and he'll have them organised, and he'll have a plan for us. So yeah, mate, I'm always confident because I'm West Ham and I always believe, and we surprise us when we least expect it. So it'd be nice to get the season off to a good start at home and see a good performance. So mate, I'll still back us, but it's going to be a tough old game.
Again, like you said, we're not expected to win every game. I just want us to play the West Ham way, attack the team. We're at home. Let's have a go, and that's all you want. If it doesn't come off, we'll clap the players off the pitch. But if you're gonna be negative from the start, I can't take that. It does my head in. What about you, Ian? Are you going to be there? Well, probably not with your little one. It's going to be difficult, isn't it?
No, I'm not going to be there. So I'm going away the following day. So be being watched on the TV. My old man's going. He's Chelsea. So I really hope that we can catch him on the counter. But say watching Chelsea versus Liverpool, they were on a different level to what they were last year. They've got a number of ball players. I know they've spent silly money and they're giving away really long contracts and things like that. But they've clearly got a plan in as to what they want to achieve over the next 10 years. And I'm just afraid that we're going to sit back, 11 men behind the ball, hope for a ball over the top for Bowen to run onto. But I don't think we're going to touch it. I can see us sort of having 10% possession in this game and just being absolutely peppered. I really can't see us getting anything. And again, I want to be positive because I always like beating Chelsea because I can rinse my old man for half the season. But it's just watching us versus Bournemouth. If we perform like we did there, we're done. And part of me, I've said to the wife, said I'm going to watch the first half because I don't think I want to watch any more after that. But it's just, yeah, I'm not looking forward to it.
Yeah, I think the 1 or 2 CDMs they're signing, they should be in the team. I think they'll sign them early, and they want 1 or 2 of them in there already. And whether any of our signings will be in the team or on the bench, I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not in a. Again, I don't know why I keep doing this, but yeah, I'm not too confident. But we'll see what happens. It's a derby. We might be up for that kind of game. I don't know. But we need a goal. You can't sit back and expect to just hold them. You have to offer something at the other end, and then it makes it interesting. But there we go. But thanks a lot, mate. Lee, what happened to the Blackburn striker? I don't know, mate. Sanchez, was it? What was his name? Forgot his name.
Brereton Diaz.
Yeah, I don't know what happened to him, mate.
Somewhere, didn't he?
Diaz, sorry. Keep an eye on Broja. That's all gone quiet due to his injury, but you never know with that last hour to go on the last day. We might just get a loan. I don't know. We'll see what happens with that one, really. But anyway, gentlemen, I've taken an hour of your precious time. It's been great to be back with the channel family. So thank you for your time. And yeah, we'll catch up next couple of days and things like that, really. So yeah, thanks a lot, Ian. Good luck with your new baby.
Thank you.
And Frankie, keep cool, my man, like me. Take care.
Find it tough.
Yeah. Take care, mate. Cheers. Bye.